We are starting off with me being a little heartbroken, actually. For those of you who catch our last episode, we were supposed to do the much awaited collaboration between the Vaquero Insider and DJ Combe and Beck, but it has been postponed to next week. So don't worry if you were here listening or expecting to have some hip hop records. I still got you, right, for the rest of this episode, but that will actually wait till next episode. So we're looking forward to that. But in this episode, we still, as always, have a lot to look forward to. And I actually want to hand over the floor to my co-host, Andrea, to give a quick disclaimer before we begin.
Yes, the views and opinions expressed on the Vaquero Insider podcast are those of us as hosts and guests, and do not reflect the official stance of the Student Government Association as a whole. We are sharing our personal perspectives and ideas as senators, and our discussions are intended for informational and entertainment purposes only.
So I know we have a lot to go over this episode, but I wanted to ask you, Andre, is there anything that has happened between the past week that maybe you kind of want to let our viewers know about, either something going on in your personal life or maybe something with your senator duties?
As far as that, I don't think so. Though there are a lot of things I do want to touch on. I know we're going to mention it in the campus updates, but there were some surprising things that I did see on the UTRGV students that I actually never have seen certain problems being brought up. So I'm actually excited to go into this other segment because, again, especially maybe the first one that we're going to go into, I've never heard that problem until now.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of, this entire semester and even the whole academic year, there's just been stuff happening at UTRGV that I haven't really seen before, which I think is a good thing, actually, because it just, for me, the more crazy, wild stuff, the better, right?
The more UTRGV we are.
Yeah, exactly. Every university has, I guess, that sort of culture. So we're looking forward to covering all of that when we come back. But before we do go into a break, I want to make this next song a shout out to one of our good friends, Selena, who requested this song. When we come back, we will go over our, I guess, the fan favorite segment at this point, which would be campus updates. We'll cover all of that when we come back. And we are back with our fan favorite segment, the campus updates. And usually I'm the one that starts it off, but actually this time I want to hand over the floor to my co-host because she actually has a very interesting story and a very interesting update that's pretty much, I believe it in the last few days that all this has kind of happened.
This was, I believe, 2 days ago, and this is the first time I ever hear this problem being brought up. Someone and UTRGV students posted something regarding the accessibility services that basically the training that the Volt drivers have. So this was anonymous, but I do want to read it to you guys. So someone posted, Volt drivers are terrible help. So question, do the Volt drivers get training with student accessibility services? Because tell me why I took the Volt this morning and a girl with a physical impairment had trouble getting off the van and the Volt driver did nothing when she fell off. They might not want to help, but you could have at least, they could have at least done something about it. So this is the first time I hear anything regarding, I guess, Volt issues in that case. I believe we've talked about it before, maybe, regarding time, how long they actually take. But in regards to the training that the actual Volt drivers receive, I don't think they're required to actually, I don't know if help students. I don't know if you've ever heard of that because I take the Volt very, very often. I've never seen a problem with it. So it's the first time it actually gets brought up. And it actually received a good amount of comments afterwards kind of explaining, maybe the drivers are not required to do it, but others say, okay, like as a personal, decent human being, you would kind of want to do that as well. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on it? Because I don't think this problem has ever been brought up, and it's also nothing that I've seen in person, so this is all new to the students.
I will say I've taken the Volt a few times, and me personally, right, I'm only speaking from my experience. I haven't seen that issue before, but what I can say is that if that is something that did take place, then I do think parking and transportation services, or whichever department kind of takes care of the Volts, that they do make sure that their drivers, and I'm sure they are. I don't know if they are or not, but maybe just to kind of reinforce, I guess, that different students have different needs. And so if there's a student with certain accessibility issues, I'm sure that the drivers are trained and kind of taught beforehand to do that. But if that's something that is not currently in place, then I would encourage administration to kind of go through a procedure to kind of make sure that drivers are aware, right, of the different needs and the different abilities of different students, right? And so it is kind of, I am shocked to hear it because I haven't had a bad experience with the Volt, but at the same time, I know, there's so many Volt drivers, right? And so it's something that definitely could have happened. And if it did happen, hopefully administration takes a look at it and kind of uses that as a reference on maybe how to move forward with some of the procedures that the Volt drivers have. But what are your thoughts on that, Andrea?
Yeah, I mean, again, it was a little bit surprising. I think even someone had mentioned, if this is, either a complaint or concern, we can bring it up to UTRGV parking and transportation, specifically within the Volt driver section, because I think when you go to the website for any type of parking transportation issue, they kind of separated between, the shuttles, the Volts, things like that. So I would say definitely reach out if you have any questions regarding the actual, accessibility training. I don't think it hurts to ask. But yeah, it was very surprising. Again, I never had a problem with the Volt, I think except once, but that was honestly kind of on me. Uh, so you guys know when you ride the Volt, they tell you to put your seatbelt on. I'm sure they've
I mean, I think they have to tell us.
they have to tell us.
Yeah, they told me for sure.
Okay, I was a little late in the game. I was putting on my AirPods when they were telling me to do that. So yeah, that one was on me because we did turn. I did fly off ever so slightly, but again, yeah, that's on me. So that's what happened this week, at least in regards to the Volt situation. And again, never heard this brought up before, but I guess it's kind of a good thing. That's what the UTRGV students are for kind of bringing, these situations to life. And I mean, it was anonymous, but yeah, that's what happened in regards to that.
Well, like I said, hopefully the whichever department I know handles that sort of thing kind of takes a look and kind of maybe reminds their drivers, right, about the different procedures and things that can be done for different students that have different needs. But moving on to our next kind of little portion, I do know, and I know we're kind of already getting ahead of ourselves on this, but I mean, to me, I can't talk about it soon enough. I know spring break is right around the corner, and so we did get a few questions from our listeners about this. And so before we get into the questions, I want to ask you, Andre, are you feeling that spring break energy yet, or are you still kind of stuck in midterm mode?
No, I don't think we're there yet. We might bring it up next week during our podcast, regarding anything related to spring break. But I don't feel it right now, only because we're still like in the storm, version of UTRGV. So maybe next week, ask me the same question again, and I'll probably answer differently. But right now, I am nowhere near like spring break ready.
Well, for me, I'm nowhere near spring break ready either, but I mean, a man can dream, right? A man can hope. I know I have midterms coming up and I have different exams for different classes, but in the back of my mind, I'm just like picturing myself on the beach, right, with like the party balloons, and that's just kind of what's getting me through my weeks right now. So I definitely do feel it around the corner, but I'm sure next week we can kind of get more in depth about it. But before we do you have a designated spring break place, or are you more of just where you like to use that time to kind of just rest throughout the whole week?
I was going to use that week to rest, but quite honestly, I feel like I do that every single spring break. I did get invited by an organization to go camping, so that is to be determined. And then another one, I've never been to the island during spring break because we kind of already know,
Oh,
we
knowing
know how it gets.
knowing you, Andrea, I don't know if you would want to go. Maybe like,
At least to be able to say I was there, even if it's just for an hour, because I've never seen how it actually gets in person. I've seen the pictures, I've seen the videos, but
well, okay, how about you come during spring break and you'll be on all those pictures and videos?
I'd rather not.
No, but I will say, I know, right, midterms are coming up, and I actually want to kind of get into that because I do know that students are feeling already, according to a writer article that came out, is they already feeling the effects of burnout. And so I wanted to ask, one, are you feeling the burnout already? And two, what advice do you have for students who are feeling burned out already? And if you want, I can kind of go ahead and reference the article, but I want to get your thoughts on that.
I would say I feel it now. I don't know if this week in particular is midterm week or it's next week, but either way, just depending on the professor. And it's really interesting that you brought that up because I believe last semester we did talk about midterm season. I don't remember if the writer put out an article, but I'm pretty sure we either saw, either a journalist bring it up or even a video through UTRGV students or through Instagram. But as of right now, I do feel how bad the burnout actually is. And personally, for me, it's just a lot of research papers. It kind of just depends on, on the student. And if I had to give any advice, oh, I'm gonna have to be one of those students that says you have to, prioritize yourself, get enough sleep, but I am not the best person to be giving you that advice because quite honestly, I think once one person is in burnout, everyone's in burnout. So yeah, I would say get enough hours of sleep during this time. That is very hard for a lot of students. I don't know if it's hard for you, but as of right now, I mean, if you're not getting enough rest, you're not gonna be able to perform as well when you're actually taking all of those exams and research papers.
As someone who, and you know this, who doesn't sleep a lot, I can definitely say that sleeping is, it sounds so, I guess, obvious that it shouldn't even be said, but I know a lot of students, just like myself included, we kind of undervalue the power of sleep. I really think you do need to get, a good rest to feel energized and to feel focused, because I feel like obviously the less sleep you have, the less focused you're going to be. And it kind of just throws everything off, really. So I'm somewhat feeling the effects of burnout, but I wouldn't say it's only because of like necessarily schoolwork. As you know, I'm in other orgs as well, like SGA and CEO, and I do stuff outside the university as well. So now is usually around the springtime. I usually get busy anyway, but I guess when you add some of the tests I have to take and stuff like that, it does get a little bit exhausting. But I think that's time management too, which is my next advice would be like, you need to make sure you're managing your time right, because for midterms and tests, I feel like the number one thing you can do is, even more than actually knowing the material, is just study, right? Because I think the more you study, the more you'll get familiar with the concepts that come up on the test. So I would say, if I had to recommend someone, two things, I would say one, sleep. You know what? Three things. One, sleep. Two, time management. And three, listen to the Vaquero Insider.
Okay. Well, hopefully we're at least someone's stress reliever during this time. I mean, we're all students at the end of the day. We're all going through the same thing. But are you currently in midterm week, or is it next week for you? Because for me, it's right now.
No, it's next week for me, which I don't know why they would do that, like the week before spring break. Like, I'm trying to like.
Well, it's so you can relax better once you actually get to spring break. I think hopefully that's why
But I'm trying to make my plans next week. Like, that's when I plan late, so I'm just like trying to make all my plans, but I'm gonna have to make my plans the weekend of instead of like the week before, obviously, because of all the midterms I got. But I want to give a shout out though, if you are struggling or you are, have your midterms. Me and Andrea here at the Vaquero Insider, we believe in you. And so for the first time ever, I just discovered I can do this. A round of applause to
You barely discovered that?
I just barely discovered all these buttons I can use. So I think next episode I'm going to go crazy on them. But I figured I needed to save it for
a good moment.
Good moment. And I think shouting out our listeners who are taking midterms or studying or preparing for them, that was a pretty good time to use it. But next, I want to hand over the floor to you, because I know, unfortunately for us, this isn't going to be our first midterm, or our last midterm, actually, because we still have another year or so till we graduate. But for some lucky students out there, this is going to be their last midterm that they have to take because they're graduating this semester. Mm-hmm. So, which leads me into the next, I guess, kind of segment, which was the graduating senior pictures. But I want to hand over the floor to you to kind of talk a little bit about what's been going on with that.
Yeah, as of right now, and especially through the Facebook group, there's a lot of people currently, promoting their businesses. They're saying, okay, if there's anyone that is willing to take, graduating pictures, maybe engagement pictures, it's going all over the Facebook group. Though I do want to point out one thing, and if for whatever reason the admin of the Facebook group is hearing us right now, because this was mentioned in a comment a few months back, I believe anyone that is posting their businesses, they're only required to post one a day in regards to that, because there's so many people promoting it. But I think someone was asking though, where are the best places on both campuses to take those actual graduating pictures? And we're not even near, at least for you and me, like we're not there yet, but I've already seen some students do it. So I wanted to ask, have you already at least thought about where you're going to take your graduation pictures?
Nope.
I'm just getting inspiration from the people that are actually posting as of right now.
I honestly have like, when I tell you I have zero idea, like I haven't even thought of it until you literally just asked me right now. It's because like I don't know. I don't, not that I don't want to think about it, but like it's just so far away. It's like another. It to me a year is a long time, and so
Well, yeah, but like actually, setting up the session, the appointment, getting, what are you gonna wear that? It takes a
hey,
while.
you just put a camera on me,
Okay,
and I think I'll do the rest. You know what? Okay, sorry.
okay, you're.
I'm overdoing the button now. But I will say though, I have seen other students take it right in between the science building and the engineering building.
Is it where like all the trees are
Yes,
kind of
where all the
aligning?
trees are. This is in the Edinburgh campus. All the trees. You can get a really good background with that. I do know in front of the Bronx statue, in front of the university in Edinburgh, is another great place I've seen. For all my Brownsville listeners, I know the bridge
Is
is
oh, it's
like the
popular.
yeah, that's probably the place there in Brownsville, in the Brownsville campus. I'm almost tempted. I mean, maybe I should make a trip to Brownsville to just take my graduation pictures
As
there
of
next
now.
year. Yeah, those are kind of the popular spots that I've seen. But I would say it doesn't matter where you take them. I think it's just about, I guess, the spirit of it. Because some people want to be unique, and so I know those places I just listed. A lot of students take pictures there, but if you're a student that wants to stand out, I mean, I would encourage you to explore campus. I mean, both campuses are big. There's a lot to explore. You'll find a lot of cool hidden spots. Why don't you be the first to kind of start that new location, right? That would be my best advice.
I think, and even do you remember last year when I guess the Bronx Trail was kind of like closed off because they were building, I guess like the garden area, like the quad. I think I haven't seen anyone take pictures there, and I know there's like almost like a gardeny space where you can actually take pictures. As of now, I don't think I've seen a student use it, though. I know once we get closer to like April, May, they're probably going to be posting, their little graduation pictures on the group. So maybe we'll get some inspiration there. But
I will say though, because I do know if you don't know a spot, there's photographers that are able to kind of help set up a session. But this leads us to our next thing we want to bring up is yes, there are like legitimate people, students or businesses that are actually, wanting to help students take graduation photos. But I mean, there is scams out there, right? And I don't know. I know, Andre, you've been a victim
okay.
of a lot of scams within UTRGV. But have you ever? I mean, I know you still have a year to graduate, but have you already like almost been scammed already, or have you seen any scams that are circulating right now?
Well, for me personally, I don't think anything has happened in regards to photo shoots yet. Though I know for sure this semester and last semester in particular was really bad for, I think it was a specific student with a very specific business that kind of scammed her out of money, at least from what I'm trying to remember, scammed her out of a certain amount of money because she put in a deposit and then the person never got back to her after that. And I think actually one of our friends did comment on that post saying, hey, the same thing happened to me when I was graduating. So, and I don't know what are like obvious signs, at least for like people that are doing photo shoots.
Didn't you tell me that scammer was you?
Okay,
I remember you
No.
telling me last year that it was you.
No, it was not.
Okay, must have been another Andrea then. But yeah, so do you have any advice for students that I guess might get scammed? So you can kind of give them advice on maybe how to not get scammed or some things to look out for?
I would say ask for recommendations from alumni because they've already gone through the process and they already know, who's viable, who's not in those situations. I don't know if I would recommend a student to take a chance with absolutely anyone. And at the end of the day, it's the student's choice who they want to go with. And sometimes it doesn't even have to be a professional photographer. I've had shoots where it's literally a parent or it's just someone that we happen to know. But it really just depends on the student, though I do ask guys, please do your research. Please ask also for recommendations. That helps a lot, kind of just preventing beforehand. And I don't know, even if we have friends that have already graduated that can hopefully give us good advice by the time we take our pictures. But yeah, I think that would be my choice. But would you hire someone or?
Okay, well, I'm in a somewhat lucky position because I have a stepbrother that does a very good job at taking photos. he hasn't asked me. He hasn't charged me yet. Maybe if he listens to this, he'll get some ideas. Maybe so. Hopefully not. But either way, I mean, I would pay him. I mean, his work is awesome. But I know not everyone kind of has that friend group or has someone that they know that can take good photos. So for me, it's not an issue. But I would say maybe for any student that doesn't have that type of friend, if you're comfortable, like you said, ask for recommendations, or I mean, hey, ask your family member. I mean, no one says you have to take your photos with like a $2,000 camera. Like your iPhone will probably take, more than good enough pictures, depending on the iPhone you have. But I know mine, it takes really good photos. So maybe ask a family, right? A family friend or even a family member if they're willing to kind of spend an evening with you. It doesn't have to be in the weekday with everyone watching. UTRGV is open on it's an open campus, so you can roam the campus on weekends, and that way if you're a little shy, you can just take it by yourself. But yeah, that would be my advice for sure. But moving on, this is, I believe, one of the few times we've actually mentioned our other organization that we're part of. For those of you who aren't aware, me and Andre are part of the Collegiate Entrepreneurs Organization, and I'm president, and Andrea serves as one of the vice presidents. But the reason we're making this announcement is because we actually have a very exciting upcoming workshop that is taking place next Tuesday. So that's going to be March 11th at 12:30 p.m. We are doing, and I'm sure everyone here has heard of Shark Tank, right? It's one of the most popular shows on television. Well, we're doing our own CEO Shark Tank. And so what we're going to do, and if anyone's listening that wants to participate, just send me and Andrea or even our organization's Instagram a message. We're going to have our own members pitch their own business ideas in front of a live audience, in front of other members of our organization, and in front of officers. And it's going to be like the real life Shark Tank, except instead of maybe winning like $10,000, which our org doesn't have, sorry, we are going to take the winner to a free trip to Chicago to compete in the upcoming conference that our organization is participating in, the Creator Pitch Competition. So I think it's a really cool opportunity, and I know I'm being biased here because it's my work, but I guess what are your thoughts on it, Andre, when I first had announced it to the executive board, and maybe if you have any advice or something you want to tell any of our listeners who maybe want to participate?
Yeah, I'm actually very excited to see it because here's the thing, Shark Tank, at least from what I think is going to happen, there's going to be a lot of enthusiasm and I guess almost like a lot of role play with that. I really want to see what everyone's going to say. And we actually had a good amount of students reach out to us throughout the week saying that, hopefully they were going to participate. And I do want to let everyone know this is, and I think you mentioned it, next Tuesday from 12:30 to 1:30. It's going to be an ECOB in room 120G. So that's where it's going to take place. And I think just as a spectator, I'm very excited to see it. I know, you as the CEO president, you're going to be one of the judges there.
Oh, yes. I'm going to make sure I go on my
You're gonna bring are you gonna like actually like dress up, make it as like the show, or kind of just keep it?
I don't know if I'm doing all that, but I'll study the Shark Tank judges. Maybe I'll do, one of them is bald. Maybe I'll shave my head just for the first time. Maybe I'll just do it just for that meeting. That way I can kind of be like, what's his name, Mr. Wonderful?
I don't know how worth it is. Mr. Clean, is that what you're
Mr. That's crazy. I hope he doesn't hear this because he's probably gonna sue us. But no, I'll lock in for sure. But I am looking for two other judges. So maybe you're gonna be a judge. I don't know. We'll make that decision a little bit later. But are you looking forward to seeing what our members are gonna participate with? I don't know their business ideas yet. We're gonna kind of find out on the day of. Are you looking forward to that?
Oh, I am. And I do want to give a recommendation to anyone that is going to be participating in Shark Tank. I would say don't hide, I guess, your whole personality. I'm looking for so much enthusiasm. I want to see something so clean and straight to the point. And I don't know, I'm hoping to make it kind of like almost like an episode. I know one of our VPs, Clarissa, she's the one that does like, all the engagement, all the pictures and all the videos. Hopefully we get some, a very cool shot of everyone actually doing their presentations. But yeah, I'm very excited for it. I've never seen something like this being done here on campus. And I'm very happy that it's going to be, our organization kind of running it.
And this year we're going to do it within our org. But I think next year, if it goes really well, next Tuesday, we can open it up to the entire university. Maybe we can get the theater there, the Student Union Theater. Maybe we can host it there next time, and I think that'll be really cool. But I'm really excited to see what our members are gonna come up with and who we're gonna take to Chicago. But that leads me to my next point is I know last week we had mentioned about the plays, the UTRV plays that have been taking place. And so just a reminder, if anyone is into Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet, or just fine arts in general, they are right now doing the play. I had said it was going to be Thursday last week, but it was actually Wednesday. I think they started. So sorry about that. But it's okay. You can still catch the second night. It's just as good. And that's going to be going on. I believe they have different dates. So, but this one in today, if you want to catch it tonight, maybe you have a date, or maybe you have a friend, or maybe you just want to go solo, right? It's going to be at 7:30. 7:30, they're going to do the Romeo and Juliet play. And they're going to do it tomorrow night as well at 7:30. And then if you're one of the later birds that catches everything late, they're going to have some of them actually at like 2 p.m. And I believe they're going to go up to Tuesday. So you have more than enough opportunities to catch that play. But do you have any thoughts on the play on there? Are you going to end up going, or did you end up getting busy? I know me and JP were supposed to go, but I actually have to go out of town this weekend. So I guess he's finding out live on air that I just dumped him technically. Sorry,
He's
JP.
listening to this right now like,
Yeah, sorry, JP. But are you going to go, and if not, what are your thoughts on the play in general?
maybe anything towards the later sessions. I know you said that they were maybe going to perform like maybe in 2 p.m., which actually seems crazy, but I do want to wish all of the performers the best of luck. I know they've already started. As far as I know, I've actually heard very good feedback from it. Though I did see a post a few hours ago through the Facebook saying, what happens if they bought a ticket, but they find out the day of that they can't go. That I'm honestly not super aware of. I would say maybe get in contact with the department.
Get in contact with the department. I'm sure they'll be able to do something for you. Not for sure though, but I would definitely give the call to the department, obviously. And hopefully you can get that situation situated, or maybe they can say, hey, okay, you can't come to this show, but we'll honor the ticket for the next show that we have. I think that would be a good compromise, but of course, call the department. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this segment. And when we come back, we are going to go into our legislative updates. We have some updates happening this Friday at our next Senate meeting, and we'll go over all that when we come back. And we are back, and now we are going to go into our legislative agenda segment. A lot of people forgot we actually had this segment because at least this semester, we haven't really utilized it as much. But I can say confidently that we're back on track, and so we have actually a lot of cool things happening here within our Student Government Association. And I kind of want to give Andrea, I'll give her the chance to speak on some of the things that are coming up at this Senate meeting, actually. And if you would kind of want to inform our listeners on what's been going on within SGA.
Yeah, of course. So as of right now, for both unfinished business and new business, we have a total of, I believe, 5 appointments. So I believe 4 senators and 1 chief justice position. So we do receive the agenda a few days beforehand. So I don't know if I should mention names. Should I mention names or no? Okay, just in general,
for our listeners,
I wish
I say we do it.
Okay, so anyway, these are going to be the appointments. So for Senator of the Graduate College, we have Mayra Gutierrez. An appointment for Senator of College of Science is Eduardo Bello, which I believe was an intern.
He was?
Last. I can't remember whose intern he was, but he was within the FYI program. Also, appointment for Senator at Large Edinburgh, Jose Jimenez, which is also another former intern. Appointment for Senator Edgar Benitez.
That's my intern.
Okay, you're really going to overuse that button from now on, but you know what? It kind of fits.
For my intern, I'll give.
Benefits, but yeah, that's actually very exciting. So I don't know if we brought it up last time, but my former intern is now a current senator. She got appointed, so congratulations to Diana Tames, in case we didn't say it, I believe 2 weeks ago. So yeah, you can actually Press the button. Please, for the anatame, thank you. And then finally, the last appointment will be for a Chief Justice position, which is Isabela Zapata. So I just want to, wish everyone there the best of luck. Though I will bring up, I will not be there in person, unfortunately. I do have a presentation that I was unable to move. But yeah, and then another interesting thing, I know there's a resolution.
We gotta keep that one hush hush.
Okay.
Okay. Look, I promise next week we'll go into it, but it's a very special resolution that I've been working on. You've been working on. We've been working on for the past few weeks, and so there's a process to get it from writing it to getting it to the floor of the Senate, and so that's what's going to happen tomorrow, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm also looking forward to the appointees, to kind of give their statement on why they want to be an SGA. So we have a lot going on, and in fact, I do actually have another legislation that is kind of being written, and it's within our committee. And so I think once it passes the committee, I will probably talk about it. But if we have time, I can probably just get into it now. But it's pretty much just a bill that's going to make our legislative process more collaborative among our senators. And it pretty much just has to do with senators kind of being included in committee discussions when it comes to legislation, because I just think typically how it works right now is that there's a legislation that's sent to our committee, any committee, a committee will review it, ask questions right within their committee, and then they'll kind of email back the author all their questions they had. So that process can delay it for another 1 to 2 weeks, right? But if this bill is to be enacted, it'll pretty much make it a procedure to where now the committees can just invite that author during that committee meeting, specifically talking about that legislation. That way, if there's any questions that the committee may have, the author is there to answer them right then and there. So it'll just kind of cut the process down and make it more faster and more efficient for legislation to be addressed and to come to the Senate floor. And so I think a lot of my work within SGA has been on the internal aspects and working on just making our student government more efficient for our student body. I think a stronger student government and a more efficient student government means a stronger student body. So yeah, we have a lot to be excited about, and we'll continue to give you all updates. And I don't know if Andre wants to add anything else.
Yes, I do want to add something. So I am currently looking at the agenda. So we do have a special guest for this meeting, and it's going to be the Period Project, actually. And I know we've talked about it before, so they're actually going to come to our meeting.
Yes, without getting into too much detail, I've been in contact with them, and that's another legislation that I have in the pipeline. And that one, it's very early on in the process, so I won't, speak on it. But they've been doing an amazing job around campus. And I know, Andre, me and you have been shouting them out since last semester. And so to kind of see them, from when I don't know if it first started last semester, but I will say it started picking up steam last semester to now they're, going to address our student government. That's pretty big. And so congratulations to Jimena, Sherry, Kylie, all those. I know they work really hard there, especially at IFSO. They do a lot of good work there. And so, thank you for shouting them out. They definitely needed it. And I'm looking forward to see what they got, right? I'm looking forward to see what they're going to present.
Yeah, I actually, now that I know for a fact everything that is going to be going on in that meeting, I am very sad that I actually can't go to this one.
If it makes you feel any better, I'm going to go via Zoom. So it's not the same. I mean, yes, I'll be there, and I mean, I have to present the resolution that I need to present. But I will say, I am looking forward to seeing there. But of course, I wish I was there in person, but sometimes you can't move work. For those of you who don't know, aside from doing all this, I also work. And so sometimes you can't escape work, but that's all right. That's okay. I'll be there via Zoom. But with that being said, Andre, is there anything else you kind of wanted to elaborate on as far as updates in the student government?
As of right now, no. I think we've been pretty up to date. Again, there are those resolutions, but let's wait a week from now.
yeah,
actually start addressing like the specifics of it, and then
and I think in the next few weeks things will pick up, and I think there's a lot more that we'll, probably have to update you all on. But when the time comes, we'll get there, right? So with that being said, we are gonna go ahead and wrap up this segment, and when we come back, we are going to give the outro as always, and maybe a little sneak peek into next episode. And so with that being said, we'll come right back. And welcome back as we close off this episode of the Vaquero Insider. As always, I want to thank every single one of our listeners and everyone who takes the time to listen to us for this hour. I know we're midway through our show this semester so far, kind of, sort of. But it's been a long road, even from the beginning of the year. And so, like I said, I want to thank everyone who takes the time to listen to us. And also I want to thank everyone who helps us behind the scenes, like Joseph and Ariana. Big shout out to Ariana. And do you have anything to say to our listeners and to our behind the scenes directors and everyone who helps us out?
of course, just thanking our listeners and to everyone that gave us the opportunity to be here today. And then just a very final, good luck to all the students. Again, we're still in midterm season, so I want to wish everyone the best of luck. Make sure you eat well. Make sure you're sleeping. That's a big one, Skylar.
Okay, I just got called out on air. Sorry. I'll work on it. Okay, I'll work on it. But yeah, no, thank you. And if they want to contact us, Andrea, where can they find our contact information?
For me, it's going to be Senator_Andrea Gaitan for both my Facebook and my Senator Instagram page.
And for me, for my Instagram page, it's going to be Senator_Skylar. And for my Facebook, it's going to be Senator.Skylar. And my number is... that was my personal number. I heard a weird sound. I don't know if it cut out or anything. But with that being said, maybe one of our second or first favorite parts of the episode. I know this is Andrea's favorite part of the show as we close out. As always, I'm your host, Senator Skylar Howell.
And I'm the co-host, Senator Andrea Gaitan.
And this was the Vaquero Insider. And we'll see you.
No.
Ariana, you want to come and finish this out? We'll see you.
No.
On the next episode.